Well, hello there. Interesting to be in here. My name's Chad Nash, and I'm with Nash Tech. At Nash Tech, we created a trading bot to enter and exit the market with the best settings, so that the bot can trade on your behalf and you can get your time back. Stop letting the big Wall Street guys win while you're stuck trading manually with emotion. Do you ever find yourself trading and then suddenly realize that you're changing your stop losses and your targets, or you start to get emotional and maybe enter at the wrong times when you know you shouldn't? Well, we understand that because we've been there. And with 15 years of software experience and several years of day trading experience, we created the perfect bot for this situation. Epic Bid was created to continuously set up low offer bids throughout the trading session. Let's go ahead and get started with the demonstration here for Epic Bid. So, I told you we were going to demonstrate a few things. We're going to demonstrate the indicator. We're going to demonstrate the strategy as for backtesting, and then we're going to demonstrate the backtesting optimization within Strategy Analyzer. And there's a couple different ways to backtest, and we'll go into a few different options. A couple of small prerequisites are that you do have the indicators installed. So if you don't have Epic Bid installed, you can download it now. www.nashtech.xyz/trial. And we have a separate installation video. It's just a minute long if you want to install it. You pretty much go to Tools, and then you go to Import NinjaScript add-on after you download that file. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started here with the chart here. We're looking at the MNQ. This was in May 2021. Today is the 23rd. It's a Sunday. So once you have the indicator installed, you can go up to Indicators, choose it from the list. Today we're discussing Epic Bid. Okay. And before we go into each setting, I'll talk just a minute about Epic Bid here. We originally had it only as a strategy and not as an indicator because it's actually a pretty simple concept. The reason we wanted to add it later as an indicator is more just for the visual of seeing it. You could technically still buy and sell manually trading this way as well. And you do now have some buy arrows, sell arrows for suggested entries. But at the end of the day, all of these exact settings are used then in the strategy, and then the strategy just has the options for, say, I don't know, you'll see a lot of different, maybe set your stop loss at different variables, or you could use an ATM strategy, things like that. So let's just add this first with the defaults, and let's just take a look at the lines we're looking at here so we get familiar with the overall concept here. We're looking at three major plots right now. One is the high of X amount of bars. One is the low, which is the pink here, is the low of that X amount of bars. And then one is that line right above that. And that is the price that you would bid at. That's where you see the arrows, and that's where you would enter. So for different setups, we could change this to maybe not 30 bars for the look back. We could change this to 45. And we could change the price offset to 25% instead of 15%. So when you see the price offset, right now it's set to only go long. We're entering long. Percentage above the low of, it was 15%. We're setting it to 25%. That percentage is the percentage of the range. So when you're working with this and you're wondering, well, that's not 15% above the price. Of course not. It's 15% within that range of where it's been trading. So we're looking at picking it up down here in one of these, one of these tails, and then selling it later on, and we'll see in the strategy, but the idea would be to sell it in that range as well, or possibly, depending on how it optimizes, backtesting, you might be able to sell it above that range a bit if it's in an upward trending movement. So you're getting quite a bit of setups here, because you're gonna see more and more setups appear that aren't going to be as qualified because it's 25%. If you were to select 0, it's going to be buying at the low. So we'll change this to 0. That's that. Now it should mean more in the sense that we're now looking back 45 bars. So you're looking back for the low of the last 45 bars, and you're entering. You're going to see fewer times, because the line for the bid price and the line for the low is actually the same plotted line, right? So as it keeps going lower and lower, we have a setting in the strategy to ignore if you entered within X amount of bars. Let's take a look then at our other options here. So you see there's actually not that many. Oh yeah, bars required from last signal, 5. We might want to do something like 10 in case you're in some sell-off like you have what happened over here. Okay, so that's will appear in white then. You still see it in white, but you're not getting the actual arrow that time. You're seeing the bars that would be kind of like pause bars. It would not be, you're not going to see a white bar with the arrow as well. So let's go ahead and get started now looking at the strategy for Epic Bid. So what's the difference between an indicator and a strategy? And what does it mean to backtest a strategy versus optimize it? We will cover some of that at the moment in this video, and then we will cover much more detailed videos for backtesting, optimization. There's a lot of different videos because there's a lot of different ways to backtest. You can backtest in Strategy Analyzer. You can backtest using Market Replay within NinjaTrader. You can backtest differently with tick data, replay data, different time frames, simulator accounts, etc. So we're just going to cover the most basics at the moment and the most basics for the Epic Bid strategy. Okay, so what's the difference between an indicator and a strategy? The biggest difference is that the indicator isn't ever algo trading. It's never going to be trading in terms of setting up a different profit target, a different stop loss. An indicator is more usually of a visual that would go on the chart. So maybe it makes the bars a different color. Maybe it plots a line of where you should enter at. Maybe it plots an arrow of where to enter or exit a trade. But usually whenever you're working with indicators, you're really just getting a visual of that on the chart. A strategy can be independent of an indicator, or it can be based on an indicator of when to enter or exit. We like to build indicators so that you can use them on your chart and they will show you, for example, arrows of when to enter or exit potentially, but you might still be manually trading. Whereas a strategy is going to look at those setups where those arrows would be set on the indicator and actually set that to enter long or exit the position, things like that. All right, so we already showed you on the chart where to add indicators, and now we're going to show you, this is a live chart of the MNQ, and the MNQ is just turned over into September 21st, 2021. It's a different month here. It's alive at the moment, 5-minute chart. I think the market just closed and it's only open for a little bit longer before it pauses here. So let's take a look at what type of strategy setup we would want to set here. So again, indicators were set here, strategies are here, and we're going to add the Epic Bid strategy. Epic Bid, add. This is one area you can add a strategy on the chart itself. We'll show you the other areas here soon. I like to go ahead and open up a template We save these templates, and you can find them, especially if you're a subscriber of the Epic Collection. You can find them at www.nashtech.xyz/templates. And you should also receive them in your welcome email whenever you download the trial. Okay, so we've got a lot for Doji here. A lot of different ones for futures M2K, MNQ. Here, I think we just have the MNQ 0621, the previous one. I think we'll just use that as a starting setup. Okay, so we're going to run through the settings really quickly and then just get you a basic understanding for how Epic Bid works in terms of the strategy setup. And we'll change a few variables, but we're not going to go into detail for every single variable that's set up for Epic Bid. We will in the next video, along with more detailed strategy optimization, multiple ways to backtest, things like that. But for this video and for this demo, it's going to be more of a quick summary. So work with me here. A couple things. Let's just run down the list. We are going to plot the EMA. I suggest we plot all of these, the recent high-low, the bid price, and the profit target and stop loss. It's set to trade both short and long, and it's just going to use the EMA as a bias. So if it's above the 850 EMA, it's going to go long. If it's below, it's going to go short. Entry versus market. This can be important if you are trading a lot of different setups or potentially a lot of different instruments because limit orders are in place and therefore they can take up your buying power. So if you were placing limit orders on 6 different contracts or 6 different instruments, just because they might not hit, likely they won't, but it's something to keep in mind on a limit order. It does place it and it can take away from your buying power. So if that becomes a problem, I would suggest market. If not, I would keep it at limit because it kind of gets you first in front of the line for that price. Ticks is the calculation mode. So keep in mind right now we're just at order entry, not at profit target and stop loss. So because of that, this is actually the same settings really as we had to find on the indicator. On the indicator, we did change this when we were doing that demo. We had this set to be above or below the range, but now we've actually set it to be in range or outside range. So what does that mean? Well, in range means the difference between the high and the low. So the range is the highest of the last 60 bars. We're on a 5-minute chart. And this is going to bid a price of 15 ticks, because we have ticks here. 15 ticks, if it's going long, it's 15 ticks above the low. So the low of the last 60 bars, we're going to 15 ticks above that low if we're going long. If it was outside range, it's going to be 15 ticks below the low. This is likely what this optimized best at recently. So we're going to go ahead and leave the defaults for now. And I think for now we're not really going to focus on the profit targets and the stop losses and all the other variables. I think some of these trading hours, enable debug mode, we're going to go into that in the next video. I want to keep this as quick of a summary as we can. One thing that is important though, when you're enabling this, let's set the order to Sim 202. One thing that is important is this checkbox right here. It's just very common when you enable a strategy inside the chart that you forget to check that box and you have to come back in here and do it. So I'm just suggesting you do it now. Okay, so we'll click OK. And it says calculating, we'll see. So right now the EMA is down here. So it's above the EMA, we would go long. The purple line here is the low of the last 60 bars. Okay. And the bid price here is the blue line that's just 15 ticks above that low. Okay, so we would not have had any trades today with this particular setup, but we would have had several over, I'm sure, a period of days with this particular setup because you're bidding at prices that, let's just see, if you go up here to strategy performance, Epic Bid, historical. Yeah, it would have been a profitable trades. 56 total trades, and 60% profitable. It looks pretty strong. We'd have to go in, and we'll show you again in the next video how to look at that and see your executions. Try to narrow down where your losses really, the largest losses were, things like that. But that's a separate video. So at the moment, we're just really looking at this setup where the bid price is right here above 15 ticks. And anytime you're seeing yellow, that's inside a trading day. We have it set to stop 2 bar. Don't trade for the first 2 bars of a new trading day. Anytime you see gray, I think we explained this in the indicator too, but anytime you're seeing gray, you're seeing the pause bars before you enter a trade again. So right now we've already hit a profit target on that trade. And we're going to wait. I think we set it to 10 bars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, maybe a little bit more. But if you're seeing gray bars, those are bars that you're not going to be trading because you just exited a position. So let's just adjust a few of these variables to get a feel for what this strategy is doing. One thing you can notice is when you go in here now under strategies tab, you'll also see the strategy here that you enabled on the chart. It's unfortunate as far as I know, but you can't disable it on the chart itself. You have to come here and click disable. You can set up new strategies here, strategies where you don't need a chart at all, and we'll show you that in another video. But okay, I just went in here and now I'm just kind of taking a look. Maybe instead of 60 bars back, let's do the high and low of the last 15 bars. So we're going to see a lot more, and let's do 20 ticks above. So we're going to see a lot more setups, right? Because we're only looking for the low of the last 15 bars, not the last 60. We won't change the profits, the stop loss, all these variables. Let's go into that in the next video and when we optimize it. So we've only changed, and it's a pretty important change, the recent high-low look back, because we're bidding according to the high-low, and we're going 15 bars back and not going all the way back to 60. So is this a better setup? Probably not. Usually you would think that the stronger setups would be if you were looking at the low of a larger time frame. And in that case, a 5-minute chart, obviously 15 bars is not going to be that many. So I'm sure we're going to see a lot more trades. Not quite the same, not quite as good. So let's take a look here at, now it would have entered though, which is good. So we would have entered recently right here, and we would have hit our target. I would imagine our performance is not as good. I don't know. Yeah, performance is not as good. But this is just to kind of show you where these entries are going in. They're coming in at the blue plotted line because we're above the EMA. The stop loss here was set to parabolic stop. I'm sure that wasn't, it wasn't the bad entry really. Stop loss just hit it too hard because it entered right here at that line. Again, we're seeing gray bars because we're skipping from when we exited a trade, which was here, and for good reason. We were going short at that time, and we would not have wanted to continue to try to go short as it pushed its way up. That's really the reason for having that pause between last exit. Okay, so that gives you just a very, very basic understanding. It's bidding near the highs and lows. The white line is the highs and lows. The blue line is the bid price. We have it set to trade above, go long above an 850 EMA, and if it's below the 850 EMA, it's going to go short. Let's see what else before we close this out. If you this is for all of our indicators and strategies. A great way to see what we have, what you have set up for, let's say, profit targets, stop losses, debugging, things like that. We'll get into debugging in another video, but you can just hover your mouse and say, okay, what's the current profit target, or what's the current bid price right here at this candle, okay? And you'll see over here, epic bid, highest high, lowest low, current bid price, and this will change as it goes forward, okay? So, over here, you actually see your current profit target and stop loss variables there. It's kind of in black, but you see the variables here. So when you're not in a position, obviously your profit target's 0. Once you enter a position, you'll always see, this is important in case down the road you have a stop loss that's maybe based on the last bar, high, low, ongoing, or some different trailing setups. It'll constantly change your profit and stop loss variables. It's good for debugging too. So you can say, well, what's the highest high? Why did it enter there? Things like that. And at least you can have this works for all of our strategies. We have this data box. So this is just part of NinjaTrader. The data box is the icon with the magnifying glass says show data box. All of this is standard and just part of NinjaTrader. But for indicators and strategies, and especially for our strategies, we heavily use this because it helps with debugging and things like that. Okay, so with that, we're going to go ahead and conclude this video. Look for the link below in the summary, and we will include a link for the next video where we're going to go into detail, item by item, on Epic Bid and for the strategy, and also how to backtest the strategy, how to set up simulator accounts for the strategies, how to optimize the strategies, things like that. Okay. Talk to you soon. Oh, and please like and subscribe below. And if you want to go ahead and download the trial and work through these strategies with us, you can. Just go to www.nashtech.xyz and /trial. So you remember the idea here is that you'll get your time back by getting your own bot to trade on your behalf. And that's really what this is all about here, is getting your time back so you're not emotionally trading, and we've all been there. So